Up on the right
Hello
side.
everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new iRacing update. That is the 2020 Season 2 update. I was super excited for this. And the reason is, well, let me back up and give you some context. For the last season, I actually really haven't been playing too much iRacing. I've spent a lot of time with ACC. Um, with all the recent updates, I found it to be a really good sim. I could go on forever about what I think are the good points about it, but the thing that really stood out for me in the GT cars was the tire model. So I found it to be very controllable, forgiving, and just like a great experience. So with this recent iRacing update coming out, I was excited for the changes to the tire model, and I primarily have been playing. I played the Cup car a little bit in the last season since it had the new tire model, but I was looking forward to checking out the GTE cars and the GT3 cars in the update and see how they handled. As you can see in the video, I spent some time with the GT4 as well, just to see what this car is like. And I think the long story short on the whole thing is it seems like a great update. The GT4 car seems, I'll say it's heavy. It's pretty easy to drive. I only drove the baseline setup, and I've tried it on like Lime Rock, Road America, and I did some at Silverstone just today. And with the baseline setup, it is pretty easy to drive. There was some feedback in the forums that it understeered a lot. So what I did is the baseline setup has 110 liters of fuel, so I just dropped that down to 30 some, and I would say it does understeer, coming out of corners. But it's very controllable, and I'm sure with the right setup you can dial that in. And I had a ton of fun doing some of the Week 13 races with it. The racing was super close, and just enjoyable all around. I would say like I'm still getting a feel for like trail braking, and I feel like I had to just learn how to slow it down a lot more than I was expecting. But I think that's just the nature of the car. So it was great all around. But I also spent time driving the BMW M8 on the new tire model at a couple different tracks, and the thing I noticed at first was, well, actually I didn't notice much, but so the M8, the setups that I had, the rear ride height was much too high. So I guess in the BOP for this, they made some changes, so I had to drop the rear quite a bit, which I expected would kind of make the rear end a bit looser, and it did. But what I noticed after doing some laps at Road America in particular, where you're heavily taking the curves, and especially that one left-hander where everyone kind of loses it and hits the wall after the S's, I noticed like the car was much more controllable. You would hit some bumps and like lose the back end, or you would slide it out on a corner, and it was really easy to recover. Like I would have binned it over and over in the past, and I was able to just keep going. But then that was confirmed with more of my time in the GT4, where in cases in Road America I would come off the final corner, that long sweeping downhill right-hander. And again, not being used to the car, I came way too fast and put it right onto the grass on the front straight. And it was no problem. I was able to control it and bring it back onto the track and keep going. And I did it time after time because I didn't learn my lesson as I was doing it. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And then it happened actually at Silverstone. I was not paying attention to something, drove off on like one of the straights into the grass, and like I had like one hand on the wheel and it was fine. So far I've been super impressed with the changes. I put a little bit of time into the Audi GT3 at Suzuka, and my setup was I didn't really dial it in, but it was incredibly oversteery, like almost not drivable. But it again highlighted, I think, the positive changes in the tire model, where I was able to completely control the rear end when it snapped out on me. So again, I think with the a better setup, it's going to be great. So I'm actually really looking forward to spending more time with the cars and trying out, spending more time with the GT4 and some of the other GT3s, not GT3s, the GTEs, and just see how they do with the new tires. But I would say I don't know if I want to compare it to ACC, but some of the things that I enjoyed about ACC, where the tires were very controllable. You could put it into a slide and not really worry about it. Like, you could bring it back. I see that. You know, I see it. Early indicators are, that's happening here too, and it makes this update very exciting. So that's it. I probably put a couple hours into it at this point, and looking forward to playing with it more over the next week. So that is my quick update. As always, like, if you like this, please hit the like button and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the live streams over on Twitch. Thanks again.